guys and gals, Insomnia from BlenderTech.com here. A quick fun one that I just thought up of that I thought would be good to be both beginner friendly and to look professional in the end would be a simple traffic cone. So I'm going to model it in Blender in low poly. We'll unwrap it and then we will be off to texture it in Substance Painter to give it a quality texture job. And this will show off how a good texture job can really make a low poly prop or low poly model look absolutely amazing overall. So we'll be doing that in Substance Painter, which you can do a 30-day free trial, or you can still get the live setup for $19.90 a month, rent to own. So load up Blender. Remember our motto, create your way, and let's get to it. So with a fresh blank Blender canvas at our disposal, let's hit numpad 5 for orthographic, Shift S, cursor to center. Let's add a mesh plane. And let's tab into edit mode and delete only faces, and then select all the 4 verts again, and let's extrude, right click, scale, and let's scale about 0.66, and then let's subdivide it once, twice, and then let's debut Loop Tools Circle. If you don't have the Loop Tools add-on, you can find it under File, User Preferences, Add-on, and searching for Loop Tools. So that will give us a nice low poly circle. However, we need to fix our topology now. So let's go to edge select mode, and let's select the 4 outer edges and delete only edges, only faces and edges. Let's select the 3 verts in each quadrant and extrude along the Y in this instance, and I'm going to use snapping to snap it to that corner vertex by enabling vertex snapping down here, and then when I'm moving it along the Y or scaling, I hold down Control to enable snapping. Then I'm going to scale along the scale along the Y0 to flatten it out. And I'm going to grab along the Y one more time and make sure it's aligned to there. Then let's just select these 4 verts and fill. And the same here. And we can repeat the process. However, actually a faster way to do it would simply be to fill down the middle there, and we could have even gone a step further. In fact, let's do that. Let's delete all these verts. First of all, subdividing this one and filling that line in. Let's delete all of these verts here. Since our pivot point is in the center, we can go to the modifiers and add a mirror modifier in the X and Y. Enable clipping. And let's continue. So we want to extrude this along the X to here. And we want to extrude that along the X to there. Let's fill that in. Let's fill that in. And we have ourselves our plane with a circle in it. We can use our dynamic spacebar add-on menu to go to edit mesh tools, normal, recalculate outside, even though I think that's upside down possibly. Again, you can find that in user preferences, add-ons, dynamic spacebar menu. Very handy. So now that we have that, we can I guess we could probably continue without applying the mirror modifier for now. So let's take this inside loop by alt right clicking on the verts, and let's extrude it along the Z about 3 units. And then let's scale it. Let's turn off clipping, sorry, and scale it. Nope, we're gonna have to apply the mirror modifier now, sorry. So enable clipping and apply the mirror modifier in object mode. Let's turn on smooth while we're at it. And let's add a new modifier, an edge split. Let's, these normals are backwards, so I'm gonna flip them. There, that's the right way. And let's select this top loop by alt-right clicking on it and scaling it down to about 0.5, 0.33. 0.33 looks good to me. So just like so, it's a very low poly traffic cone. We're looking at 64 tries so far. We need to fill in the top, however, so let's extrude, E, right click, scale, 0. And then Control V, remove doubles, and that will give us the top. As you can see, a triangle fan, that is what that's called. Let's select the entire plane loop by alt-right clicking on it. I feel it should be slightly larger, so let's scale it by 1.25. Okay, 1.125. So by an eighth. And then let's extrude along the Z, approximately 0.25 negative. And I would say that is a traffic cone with half decent topology. So let's just fill in the bottom now. So extrude, E, right click, scale 0. Gives us a triangle fan. Control V, remove doubles to get rid of the extra verts. And there we have it. A nice little low poly traffic cone. 120 tries. You couldn't get any better than that. Beautiful little mesh. Oh, I forgot to round off the corners. You know what? That's going to bug me. So let's bump back into Blender. I wanted to keep it low poly, but not that low poly. So tab into edit mode. And I don't have screencast keys. Sorry. Tab into edit mode. And let's go into line select mode and select each edge by holding shift and right clicking. So we got all 4 edges, and then we want to control B for a bevel. And a regular traffic cone just has a square bevel. I kind of wanted a rounded one, so I'm gonna go for 3 segments and about 0.25 on the bevel. I think would look good. I like that. So let's file, save that again, and I guess it would have to be unwrapped now. So let's go to our UV/image editor, double check it. Yeah. Oh no, it'll, no. After much experimentation, I have found that this unwrap does not work too well. So rather let's do a smart UV project and let's see how that works. So let's actually, since we are just going, no, we'll leave it. So let's save and export FBX, and let's hop into Substance Painter. So let's go new, select our mesh, let's go DirectX, normal map format, and let's search for a plastic material. Although first, let's bake our textures. So bake textures, high definition meshes. We'll go from cone.fbx. A dilation width of 2, and we want 2K. This is a situation where you might want a high poly mesh. You might want to go and create some nice bevels and subdivide it and such for a high poly bake. But we'll see how it turns out with the auto unwrap. So plastic base. Let's go down to the parameters. Plastic color. Let's go into the oranges. Somewhat bright orange, but not too bright. And roughness, let's undo it a bit. Now let's create a material preset. Right there. New export preset or whatever. And let's add a fill layer of that. So we'll just drag it right onto the material. So there is our base traffic cone. I like it. So let's drag our layer 1 up on top, and what I want to do is take the plastic color, make it a little bit darker, and then paint up on top here where you would expect somewhat of shadowing with a pretty large brush. Just like so, a small little detail, but it would make a difference. Now let's go to our generators, and on our fill layer, let's add a black mask, and let's add a generator, and let's go with dirt. I like it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this layer. I'm going to bring it underneath, and I'm going to delete the mask on it. Oops, didn't mean to do that. I just meant to select the mask and remove mask. Now what we're doing here is we are masking out a color, so we should rather have this filled with, yes, just a base color, something like not a black, but a nice, I don't know, near black, in the red, orange, kind of, you know, a dirty looking color like so. It's kind of a nice, rich, reddish, orangish black. You could also go blue. That would look good if we went into the blue zone. Maybe not that blue, it would have to be less saturated, but that would look well with the orange too. So there we go, that adds some nice detail. Let's go to our mask, MG Dirt. Let's play with the level. So dirt level, we don't want totally high, we don't want totally low, depending on the effect we're going for. We want just a nice, yeah, about 0.7 looks pretty good. Or so. Contrast, we want to make it a little bit lower, 0.4. You could probably up the amount a little bit, 0.75. Grunge amount, leaves at about 0.25, and edge masking is going to have very little effect here, so let's leave it all the way down. Alrighty, I like that. Next, let's duplicate this layer and go to its mask, and let's replace MG Dirt with MG Dust. See how that looks. So basically just adds to the flat top faces, it looks like. Turn that off. Yeah, I don't know if that one's gonna have as much effect. So let's replace it with edge damage, maybe. Yeah, on a low poly, it's not gonna look so good, but I like what it's doing to the base there. So if we turn it up to 1, damage intensity bump up. get it just right. 0.97 with a low intensity. I do like that on the edge there. That looks pretty nice. Although what we could do, where it's doing this, is we could choose a different color. We could choose something like a orange, but make it look like a worn orange. So we just have to find a color that kind of fits, so it would be kind of a dark orange. Desaturate it a bit. We could throw a material on there too. We could find our export. Let's see what that looks like. You could throw that on there and then turn the color down in saturation. Or sorry, same color, but yeah, down in saturation. That I do like. Let's go back to our mask for a second, our MG edge damage and damage intensity. Let's bump it up. Full intensity. Yeah, I like that look. Adds some nice wear and tear to it. Let's duplicate it one more time. Go to our edge damages. What else would look good? I think ground dirt or grease is gonna look the best. So let's try ground dirt. And we need a dirt color. We don't want this material. Do we have a dirt material? That would make things nice. Uniform black dirt. Let's try that. Oh yes, very nice. Ground dirt. Alright, level. Quite low probably. Go about 0.125. Contrast, very low. Dirt height. Do we want it to extend all the way to the top? Probably not. Probably just on the bottom. So about 0.22. And I want to duplicate that layer to make it just a little more intense. And then let's duplicate it one more time. And let's go to our mask and change MG ground dirt for MG grease. My favorite. Now, with the auto unwrap, we get a little seam there we gotta be wary of, so level, let's bump it up, contrast, very low, thickness threshold, we want all the way up, down a little bit maybe. 0.5 is fine, I guess, and you have the level, like 0.15 maybe. And let's change this, try the uniform black dirt again. That's what's already on there. What else do we have stock here that could look good? Just thinking quickly. Metal dumpster. Something that looks greasy. What do we got here? Asphalt. Yeah, that should look just fine. Our thickness map doesn't work very good for an input. As you can see, we got some seams for sure, so might do one layer like so with a very high contrast threshold, like so. It's slightly lower, 0.75, 0.1 on the level. And let's duplicate this, but not for added effect. Instead, we are going to randomize the seed a bit and turn the level up, and the thickness threshold something like 0.4 or so. The contrast, bump it up to about 0.1, and the level we want quite high. Let's go 0.35. Let's just get a nice random seed that looks good. Ooh, I like that. And let's change it from normal to multiply or color burn. Yeah. Darken or multiply. Darken looks more grungy. And let's take the MG Grease opacity and bring it down just a touch, 0.9 or like 90%, and the overall layer about 80%. Then let's just start playing with the rest of these as well. See the grease layer, that looks good on its own. As does that one. Really like this fill there. I want to make that plastic color a little bit lighter yet. Really make that stand out. So make it a bit lighter, and then let's go to the mask, the edge damages. Let's add another mask on there. Add a generator. And what did we use for that? It was edge damage. So let's pick another edge one. Edge notch, edge dirt, damage, edge blur, edge speckle, edge wear. Let's try edge wear. Full level, very low contrast. A high threshold. Edge width, you just kind of got to play with, I guess. Leave it at stock, 0.5. Disorder, pretty high. And let's set that to about 20%. Let's go 15%. And the edge damages at 100. And then let's duplicate that layer. And instead, let's take the edge damages down to, well, yeah, we can just get rid of that, I guess. So we can remove effect. We'll just use the edge wear, bump it up a little bit to about 40%. Let's get a nice random seed going again. And then let's turn the level down. 0.8. Low contrast. Full threshold. Full width. Full disorder. There, I like that. And let's take the color and let's make that one, I want to say even lighter, but maybe darker actually. Give it a bit more saturation and slight more darkness, or slightly higher value. Sorry, slightly lower value. Yeah, kind of like a really dark orange in there. I am starting to like this. Let's see here. This dirt layer is quite heavy though. That has most of the effect. However, it does mask the seam between the cone and the base. So, what can we do to change that? We could bump the contrast down to like 0.25. Turn the dirt level down a bit, 0.75. Grunge, we can leave about where it is. Turn the dirt level down and the grunge up, maybe. No, turn the grunge down and the dirt up, rather. And let's get a random seed going again. There, I like that. I want to get full, so let's bump that down to about 80-90%. And that is that. I think that looks pretty good. So let's save this first. I'm surprised Substance hasn't crashed as it is. I'm just gonna call this traffic cone. And let's bump the size up to 4096 since we are going to render. And I'm gonna change it. Well, we can take a quick look at it if it doesn't crash. Watching my memory go up. I'm gonna let it do its thing for a second. So as you can see, that really bumps the bumpiness up the normal map. I'm gonna just set that to solo so that it doesn't affect my computer. But that is our base map without any material funkiness. So I like that. So let's export it. So File, Export Textures. And what we want is, let's see, is there a stock one in here that'll work? Diffuse gloss, no. Might have to make our own. Or I guess, yeah, we were just going to use the stock ones. So we'll have our height map, which we won't use. The roughness, which we're going to use as specular. Did I leave the metallic in there? I don't remember leaving the metallic in there. We'll try that and see what happens. PNG format. Let's choose our traffic cone folder. We'll make a new folder called textures. Select it and export. I don't think we needed 4K. I'm sure 2K or 1K would have been just fine. So I'm gonna let it do its thing. There we go. Open folder, and let's open up Blender and close out Substance Painter. We'll save it. So we got our color map, our height map, our metallic, which we're not using, so it's just black. We have our normal, and we have our spec, our roughness map, our specular map. So let's get out of Windows Photos crap. Oh great, all of them, Alt F4, come on. So let's open up cone.blend and let's open up the node editor. Actually, I'm going to go the other way so it's a little bit easier to work with. Let's turn on screencast keys for you guys. So, the node editor, there we are. So let's hit control space, I believe, add texture setup. So if you don't have that add-on, that is the node wrangler. Node wrangler. So let's open our texture. So base color. We can go into texture mode if we want. Start seeing it. Looks pretty good just like that. So that's diffuse. I'm so used to Unreal where I can select these and hit C and get a comment. There's no way to add much except for a frame nowadays, but I'm not too worried about it. But I can't wait till they get it set up like that. Anyways, we are going to want to add a shader glossy, and I'm going to want to select both of these and control space, and we're going to want to merge them using shaders mix. Then let's select glossy, control shift, add texture setup, move down, let's open our textures, roughness. There we go, and that is not, we don't want that for the color, rather we want that for the roughness. Yeah, that should work just fine. It's hard to get, we don't want it to be very glossy at all, so we'll leave this at about 0.05 for now. Play with it after. Let's add in a normal map. And let's control space, add texture setup, which it doesn't want, so let's just copy this, control C, control V, and let's open our normal. I think we want it OpenGL, 54 megs, holy cow. Put that into the color, select our UV map, and plug it into the normal. Ooh, is that taking some memory or what? Not enough memory to render it even on GPU. Wow. Might have to put it into a game engine. I mean, we could scale those down. Or we could try getting rid of the normal. Yeah, that's about all we can do. That normal map really kills it in Blender. So let's set up a quick little scene. Let's add Shift S, cursor center, add a mesh plane, scale it out. And we want a new material, and we just want something like mid-gray. Duplicate, rotate along the Y 90. It's backwards, so rotate along the Z 180. I believe it's backwards anyway. Grab along the X to there, grab along the Z, just kind of line it up, whatever. Let's add a camera. Let's get a nice, let's go to perspective. Let's get a nice little view. You're gonna have to scale this along the Y. Get a nice little view. And Control Alt 0 to get a camera, and then Shift F to edit our view. And something like so, following the rules of thirds as best as possible for basic composition. Let's see if that will render. Perfect. So let's add a light. So get over to camera mode, appear somewhere, add a. Actually, we should have made these area lights. But anyways, let's add a. Let's try sun. Let's grab along the Z, grab along the X, and let's rotate along the Y, and rotate along the X. Let's kind of get it pointing in that direction. And let's see what kind of strength we need. It's pretty good on its own. I think maybe 2.5. I like it. Alright, let's go back to camera view. Cool. Now, size, we're going to want to edit that. We're going to want a much smaller size. I'm thinking maybe 10 centimeters. No, that's what we had originally. 1 centimeter. 2 centimeter. Let's go 3 centimeters. I think that'll look alright. Yeah, I like that. It's orange, so let's make the color slightly cool. Ever so slightly cool. So, something like, let's go 0.975 on the red, and leave the green and blue as is. Go a little bit further, maybe 0.9. Not that much. 0.92 I think looks best. So let's set up our render settings. We want full 1080p and PNG. Sampling, we want 100 samples, and light paths, we want full global illumination, and that should be that. So I will render that out and we'll see what it looks like when it is finished. Shouldn't take long at all, actually, but that normal map just kills it. So would need to cut that texture size down. 54 megs was quite big. That looks quite nice, but we can go further. Let's hop back into Substance Painter. Actually, before we do that, let's save this. Let's go into Photoshop or your favorite imaging program, and let's create those white stripes. I'll show you how to use stencils to good effect in Substance Painter. So let's make a new document with a width of let's go 1024 and a height of 256. Yeah. And let's use the line tool with a width of 128 and full black straight across. Now we could center it for effect if we want, and let's save that into our folder. Traffic cone, where are you? There you are. And we're going to call this, save it as a PNG. We're just going to call this line stencil. Save that. Close out of that. Now let's reopen Substance Painter. We will reopen our project, and in the meantime I am just going to hop over and get my stencil file. So let's go into textures and let's drag and drop our stencil file into there. And let's create a new layer. Ooh, we're in 4K. Let's bump that down before it crashes. And it crashed. Nope. Okay, I set it back to 1K, and so I made this new layer. Let's drag it to the very top. Come on, there we go. Layer 2. And let's Control Shift left mouse to snap. Zoom in on the top here, get a nice view here. And let's go to our, I don't think there's a stock paint material. Car paint, no. Wood, old paint, no. Painted steel, no. So we're just going to use a basic setup. So our color, we're going to want kind of a just off-white, just a little bit of gray in it. Actually, we could even add a little bit of yellow to it. So you go like this grayish, yellowish white, just barely off-white, whatever you want to call that nowadays. The height, we want that to be slightly above, ever so slightly low, like 0.125 or so. Roughness, we want it to be slightly non-rough. And the metallic will have an effect on the final outcome, but we want pretty much no metallicness. Alright, so let's go to our brush and we click on stencil and drag and drop our stencil on top of it, and you'll see we get our stencil in here. So let's set our size up right. Thinking with total size of it, probably something about like that would look good. So let's, we need to invert it. And I'm not aware of a way to do that inside of Substance Painter, so let's just do that with paint and see how that works out. You can't invert anymore in paint. You used to be able to hit Control I. Okay, well, let's just hop into Photoshop then and reopen that inverted and save it. Hopefully we don't crash. I really need to get more memory going on this station. So let's Control I to invert, file, save, close back, go to Photoshop, drag that stencil back in, replace it. There we go. Now we got what we wanted, except now it's not stenciling. So we want black bars. Okay, let's reopen that in Photoshop. I apparently totally forgot how to make a stencil. We got a decent size there. We just need to cut it. So, black is where the stencil takes effect. We just want to erase in the middle. So let's take a line. Let's make it white so we can see. Let's go 128 minus 32. Let's go 96. I knew that. I didn't need a calculator for that. 96. I'll leave 16 pixels on each side. Center it. And let's rasterize the layer. And select that shape. And delete it from the bottom layer. Get rid of that. And we can save that again as the stencil. Alrighty. Close out of Photoshop one last time, hopefully. Bring our stencil back in, and we can drag it onto our stencil, and now we are able to do that. Perfect. Alright, so that's actually going to be pretty large. So I'm going to zoom in a little more, go close to the top, And I'm just going to paint left to right, staying within the stencil. Let's see if we can't clean it up by using the eraser tool with the stencil. Looks like right here will be the last little bit, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, it looks decent enough. Looks like someone, yeah, just spray painted it. So, to give it that effect, however, not just white blandness, let's add a black mask, and let's add a generator. And we want, let's go to our generators. Let's see what would look good. Probably a mask builder, because then you can really play with it. You can see you can get some interesting stuff there. So let's just hit the random C2 till we get something cool. Fortunately, that seam ruins things. Alright, let's see what we can do. So, levels pretty high. 0.85, sure. Contrast very low. Maybe 0.75, bump it down. Intensity on the grunge, very actually, let's go pretty low, 0.27. The scale, however, yeah, we want to bump that up. Looks like 5 looks good. Secondary grunge, we don't have one, so we'll turn that off. The AO range doesn't have much in the way of AO, so we can just leave it as is, I believe. Turn the noisiness up or down as wanted. Turn it to cloud if we wanted. Give it that painted look. Curvature is where most of this effect is going to come from. Turn it down a little bit. Convex range, nearly all the way up. 0.75 or so. The contrast is fine. Concave range, not going to do anything because we don't have any concave surfaces. Smoothness, bump that up. Let's go with like 6, 7, 8. Level boosted a little bit. Increase the noisiness all the way, and the noise scale down to about 2. Noise type, moisture, cloud, spots. I quite like that moisture one. See how it looks in our AO. Yeah, I like that. Scratches, amount, sum, intensity. Somewhere in the middle, scale, we want up. Although that doesn't really have a place there. I don't know if that really works well. Yeah, looks alright. You can change the intensity so it's not so apparent. Position intensity. That's where you can play with how much it'll fill. Bump it up a little bit. The range. Bump all the way up. The contrast probably want all the way down. Not any difference. Normal, we don't want any difference. That just basically where it's going to be applied. You can see you can remove it entirely from one side doing it that way, or using those effects anyway. Scatter intensity. I'm sure it's pretty good stock. Density down quite a bit. Size, can play with that. Size variation all the way up. Opacity variation all the way up. And that is that. So we got one stripe. Let's make a second one quickly. So we'll snap. And we will go to our textures. And let's make another layer. Layer 3. And let's throw our stencil back on there. And we need to go to paint, not erase. And we don't want it that big. Probably want it like that big. So let's see if we can't. Probably easier just to do the erasing job that we did last time. Almost there. Just clean that up a bit. Very softly. I like it. Alright, so let's get rid of this stencil and go back into paint mode. Get rid of that stencil. And let's just copy mask. Where are you? Copy mask. Add black mask and paste mask. Where are you? Paste into mask. We'll use the same setup. I like it. Perfect. And if we wanted, we could make like a traffic stencil on it or something, but I think that looks fine on its own. This would make a very good game prop. You can see it doesn't take long to make nice looking stuff these days. Let's resave our project. And let's export our textures. Let's choose 2K this time. So we will re-export, and it should actually just overwrite them, which will be perfect. Much faster that time. Finish. Okay. Discard. Go into Blender. Let's see how big the normal map went, from 50 to 14 megs. So I've got a second render layer set up this time, and as you can see, a little loss in quality. Let's go to our UV image editor and make sure those are all refreshed first. Image, reload image. No, they're not. Image, whoa, reload image. Image, reload image, back to 3D view. As you can see, no loss in quality between 2 and 4K on a 196 try. model. So let's see, plug our normal in, normal and normal. Yeah, because that is the wrong type of normal map, I think we might have an issue. Let's see. No, okay, maybe not. It'll just be the green channel that is wrong. So let's, whoa, didn't mean to do that. Let's play with this a little too. I want this to be, no, not. I want it to be a little bit more reflective. Not much, but yeah, like 0.1 so that the paint gets the reflectivity it should. You're not 0.105, 0.08. Let's check that out. And our sun, let's turn that up to 3.5, 4, 5 even. Alright, let's re-render this. Render. Rendering 2, frame 2. That is a pretty darn good looking traffic cone. That would look very good in any game as a prop. And you're looking at 196 tries, and you could cut the texture maps down or use it in your texture scaling setup. So there you go, for really about an hour's work or less. You have a very nice looking traffic cone. I mean, obviously you could work on the stencils a bit more. You could increase the poly count if you wanted, but the base looks great. Anything hard surface really works well with Substance Painter's generators. And making proper stencils to the right size that curve better can be helpful as well. But overall, that is darn good looking for 196 tries and a 2K texture, which you could cut down and you'd see really very little difference. So anyways, thanks for watching this from the team here at Blender Tech. If you enjoyed this video and learned something or whatever, please like it, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos as well. We take donations if you look in the description. We're on social media and the links on your screen. If you dislike this video for some reason, please tell us why so we can continually improve them based on your input. We take requests as well, so we'll see you next time. Remember, create your way.